So this presentation was made by Amanda Robinson, Charlene Medina, Mark Barbeau, Andrea Martinez, Luis Pryor, and Yuko Otani to fulfill a requirement for advanced strength and conditioning class at Cal State Long Beach. We chose the topic of barefoot training. Prior to the 1970s, sports footwear was simple, flat-soled shoes with little to no support. In the 1970s, shoe manufacturers began producing the modern running shoe, which sparked controversy about a shoe which might limit or even eliminate our foot's natural mechanics. In the mid-1990s, barefoot and minimalist training gained traction as a result of various research studies and writing examining the biomechanical effects of shoed versus barefoot running and training. However, people who transitioned to barefoot training too quickly often experienced injury. Most results were inconclusive. By the 2000s, advances in biomechanical research technology had allowed researchers to examine the resulting impact of various foot strike patterns on lower limb kinematics, knee angle, leg stiffness, and overall form. Because the debate over barefoot training is heavily backed by scientific research, there is little need to financially compensate its proponents. Resources found online were devoid of advertisement and conflicts of interest, such as barefootalliance.org and evidence-based-fitness-academy.com. In the early days of barefoot debate, shoe manufacturers began to produce minimalist shoes to mimic the experience of barefoot running and training. Many saw this as a way to cash in on the trend rather than promoting a better way to train. Many minimalist shoe manufacturers have celebrity support, such as ultramarathon runner Anton Krupicka. His endorsement for New Balance Minimos trail running shoe. Krupicka claims he first got the idea to cut the sole off his conventional running shoe when he became frustrated at his inability to find a flat-soled shoe which would provide him with the adequate ground feel and control. He says that New Balance took the idea and ran with it. Although he had been approached by other shoe manufacturers offering him free products in exchange for his endorsement, he ultimately chose New Balance due to their commitment to meeting the demands of an athlete trying to perform at a higher level. The leading researcher in the field of barefoot mechanics, Dr. Daniel Lieberman, is a professor of human evolutionary biology at Harvard. Dr. Lieberman takes an evolutionary approach to locomotion. In his research on canyon runners and on the Tarahumara Indian tribe, have conclusively demonstrated that barefoot mechanics differ from shoed foot mechanics, specifically in terms of foot strike, stance, and overstride. However, Dr. Lieberman takes no stance for or against barefoot running. Based on his research, he is not financially compensated by either side. The foot is our foundation of support. It has 26 bones combining into 33 joints and supported by 100 ligaments and more than a dozen muscles. Overly cushioned shoes may impede natural foot mechanics, leading to foot and ankle deficiencies and injury. The graphs to the right compare ground reaction force resulting from a heel strike in shoed runners versus forefoot strike in barefoot runners. The total impact force is greater in the heel strike due to the longer duration of contact with the ground. Kinematic studies have also shown that barefoot running is more efficient at converting foot strike force into forefoot propulsion force. In other words, potential to kinetic energy due to sufficient foot and ankle stiffness on impact. The concept of energy efficiency can be applied to various forms of training, besides running. As we learned, weightlifting shoes are often hard-soled to inhibit loss of force production. Nowadays, minimalist shoes are being used for running, but also for various types of non-cardio training. It goes back to natural foot mechanics and foot and ankle strength, removing the crush out of shoes. There are some benefits to barefoot training. Train barefoot to increase your lifts and avoid injury by Cassie Dion points out that the body is a connected system that relies on the energy of all its parts. All of the force that you transmit through your entire body goes through your feet. Your feet help transmit forces, balance, and are also key to movement. Any decrease in balance, mobility, and proprioception of the foot entails complications to other parts of the body, such as the hip and the knee. Barefoot training allows individuals to avoid these deficiencies and instead improve their performance. Barefoot training increases sensory input of the foot. The brain receives input about the surface it is standing on, joint position, and muscle tension. When you are wearing a shoe or even a sock, you lose sensory input. Some muscles shut off because they don't have to work due to the support of the shoe, while others work too hard or at the wrong time. This insufficiency how the rest of your This influences how the rest of your muscles work up the entire kinetic chain, effectively changing your entire movement pattern throughout a lift and how much force the body is able to exert. Barefoot training may prevent injury. The body works as a unit, and an issue in the foot can lead to an injury at a completely different body part. Training barefoot improves strength, mobility, and proprioception of your feet. Improving foot strength and mobility prevents muscular imbalance, improper muscle recruitment, and poor joint alignment throughout the whole body. Improving proprioception increases an individual's awareness to protect themselves from injury during unexpected circumstances, such as uneven surfaces or quickly maneuvers on the playing field. When searching for evidence that can definitely show the benefits of barefoot training, we could not find a strong enough article that backed up evidence, nor did we find any article that shows any benefits of training with a shoe. But just because we couldn't find any concrete information about training with or without shoes, it doesn't mean that there are some other benefits to training with shoes. Certain foot types, whether it is pes planus, pes cavus, or rearfoot varus, may need the help of shoe inserts to correct deviations. Certain foot types can predispose people to having certain types of injuries, such as hallux valgus. For example, pes planus may lead to genu varum of the knees. In order to correct these deviations, a shoe is required to place the insert in. A properly fitted shoe can also help correct deviations and further prevent other injuries. Overall, a well-fitted shoe can bring a more comfortable and beneficial experience while training. Before we conclude this presentation, we would like to leave a message to our viewers. It all depends on the athlete. There are many advantages and many disadvantages to both barefoot training and shoe training. There are also many ways of training, many kinds of athletes, and many types of feet. We must account for all these variables and go with what feels more comfortable for us. Thanks for watching.